So why is this Jesse Hemphill Bowie knife called a gator breaker? Well, I used one to butcher an alligator, and it seemed like that was an appropriate use. But a logical question is, what good is a Bowie knife today? After all, when the knives were invented back in the early 1800s, they were used primarily for fighting knives. The early Bowie knives were based on a standard breaking knife or long butcher knife. These knives were used for butchering cattle or any other large animal, but the Bowie knife became a frontier icon after the Battle of the Alamo. Today there are many variations, and the designs are limited only by the creativity of the makers. We're going to take a look at the Jesse Hemphill Gator Breaker Bowie. Here are the stats on the knife. Overall length is 14.75 inches with a blade that's 9.25 inches. The blade thickness is 0.177. It's made of 80 CR V2 steel, and we'll talk a little more about that later. And it weighs 13.8 ounces. This particular design is basically a fighter. What you have is a long swage right there. The point is centered on the blade, so you get a lot of mass behind the thrust. And then you also have just a hint of a belly there. That means you could probably use this knife for a skinner reasonably well. Some Bowies had elaborate hilts designed to protect your hand while you were knife fighting. This one is big enough that it would keep your hand from sliding up on the blade, but on the other hand it doesn't hinder you using it. The handle is black micarta, which is an excellent choice for a knife that's going to be used a lot. Micarta tends to get kind of grippy or tacky or whatever you want to call it when it gets wet. Another consideration is how well the handle fits when you're wearing gloves. These are cut resistant gloves, and you can see that even with the extra bulk I have room on the grip and my hand is not going to slip on it. This is really important if you're out where it's cold, you're working with your knife, and you don't want to take your gloves off and freeze your hands. It's very important on a knife that's this big and this sharp that you have a solid sheath. This is a good one. And I stuck a D-ring in here to make it into a dangler so it can ride on my belt like that. So how does this knife actually work? Well, there's no better test than using it at a task it was designed for.
You know, is this, would it be better to take it sideways and peel it off like that?
Right.
How well does the steel hold an edge? Here's a before and after comparison. The Hemphill comes out of the box shaving sharp. I haven't touched this edge at all, and here's how it looks. So I haven't touched the blade since we got done working on the alligator, and let's just see how sharp it stayed. Oh my. There was a little staining on the blade. I had left some blood there after working on the alligator. I didn't intend to, I just got busy using other knives. We're going to try to get these blood stains off. I'm going to try some Moz metal polish. This has worked real well for me in the past. So I'll put a little on the spots and let's see what happens. Quick safety tip here. Make sure you keep that edge flat on the another surface because you do not want to be rubbing like this on an edge. Looks like it's coming off nicely. Doesn't matter how pretty your knife is, and this one is a beauty. You don't need to be afraid to use it. Just maintain the blade. Wipe it off when you're done using it, and it's going to look good for years and years. All these design features combine to make a knife that's useful. I don't think a Bowie is the best all-around knife or even a particularly good utility knife, but they sure are fun to use and they sure are fun to have. This is Survival Common Sense. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.